Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger, and this is my response to a video by Jay Hobson, the continuation of Booker T and Nash in WWE, a blessing in disguise. And that was basically his question. Is it a blessing in disguise? Now, he sort of went at it from the angle of it's better for TNA, and I am going to from both angles. I'm going to say first, I completely agree with him. Yes, it is a blessing in disguise, but I believe it is a blessing in disguise for both companies. And here's why. I'm a fan of Booker T. I'm a fan of Kevin Nash. I don't buy into this bullshit about get rid of all the old guys. I can't stand motherfuckers who say dumb shit like that. I'm not going to get into people and say names, but I didn't hear people say, TNA needs to get rid of all the old guys, whether they're going to retire or get hurt or die. And I can't stand hearing people say stupid shit like that. I've had my disagreements on how TNA uses some of its veterans, but I believe there is a place for them for veteran wrestlers in any company. My reasoning for saying this is a positive for both companies is that I've seen a lot of shoot interviews where older wrestlers talk about the territory days, and something I've heard plenty of them say was that eventually a wrestler would have to leave a territory because they've really done all the interesting matches and feuds there that they can do. Then they go to a new territory with fresh new talent and they can do some new stuff. And I think that's the situation we're in with Booker T and Kevin Nash and TNA. They've done all the feuds and matches in TNA that anybody cares about. They had the matches with AJ. They've had the matches with Joe. They've had the matches with Abyss. And as I look at the TNA roster, I just can't think of anybody on that roster that right now I'd be interested in seeing either of those guys in a match with. All the interesting matches for them in TNA have been done. I mean, I'm looking at the roster page right now. What do I see? No. They've had them all. They've done all the matches that I think are worth doing. The only guy I could see I maybe could get into a Booker T versus Pope match once, but that's about it. When it comes to TNA, I think this has forced TNA to make some changes that a lot of us wanted. As you'll see on Impact on Thursday, they turned some heels faces. I'm not going to say who in case you don't want to be spoiled, but some people that everybody likes and everybody wants to cheer for and nobody really wanted to be heel, they turned them face because of Nash and Booker not showing up, and I think it's all around better. Also, TNA only has 2 hours of television a week, and they're known for having the veterans take up a lot of TV time, and most TNA fans would rather see some of the younger guys get more of that screen time. And again, it just works all around. It works well for everybody. I think we're all going to get what we wanted out of this. It works out well for WWE because although there's no one in TNA I'm interested in seeing do feuds or matches with Booker T and Kevin Nash, there's plenty of people in WWE that I'd like to see them do some matches with. As I was looking over some guys in WWE just off the top of my head today, talking to someone else about this on Twitter, I was able to name several guys that I'd be interested in seeing do some matches. And I'm sure if I hopped over to the WWE roster page, I could probably think of some more. But, I mean, right off the bat with Diesel, feud with Sheamus. That storyline is already set. It writes itself. You took out my boy Triple H, and now I'm here to pay you back. I mean, that's a built-in feud right there he could do that they could do for a good couple of months. And Nash, Nash is a businessman. He's a smart businessman. Nash usually doesn't let anything get in the way of him making his money. And I know that Nash if he did a feud with Sheamus, when the time came, he would do the job and put Sheamus over, make Sheamus look like even a bigger heel, like even more beast, because he took down Big Daddy Cool Diesel, which builds him up even bigger, so that you could do the Triple H return and do that match. I mean, it works out well for everybody. Also, other guys I thought about that I'd like to see with Diesel. I had a list. Hang on. Diesel versus Wade Barrett, just because I think the two would match up well. Barrett's big enough that he looks like he could beat Diesel. Plus, if you saw the clips from the Nash shooter interview, I mean, that kind of made me want to see it too. Diesel versus Orton, I could get into that. Diesel versus Cena, I could get into that. They kind of tease maybe he might do something with Big Show at the Rumble. You know, we ain't seen those two, Nash and Big Show, face each other in a few years. It's been a good 5, maybe 6 years since we seen that match. I could get into that one more time. You know, maybe Diesel wants to face up with the Nexus. He could go up against, you know, CM Punk or Big Mason Ryan. You know, that's some good matches we could get out of that. He might fight the Core. Maybe Diesel versus Big Zeke. That's a match we could get. Diesel versus Edge is a match I could get into. Let's see here. I'm looking at the Raw roster right now. Who else I see I might be into? Mark Henry. I can get into Diesel versus Mark Henry. Two big powerhouses going at each other. That's all. You know, that could be something good there. Anyone else? When he comes back from injury, Skip Sheffield. I hadn't thought about him. That I could get into that. That's a match I could get into seeing. Diesel and Miz could be good. Or you could have him feud with Triple H after Triple H comes back after a while. That's something you could do. Maybe if you don't want to put them against each other. Maybe Great Khali, just because it's, you know, two giants going at each other. That's usually something entertaining. But, you know, those are some fresh matchups I could see Diesel doing. Look at the SmackDown roster. I already said Edge. I already said Zeke. Maybe Kane. That could be good. Undertaker, of course. When Taker comes back, I mean, I bet that would be real good. They've had matches, I think, at WrestleMania once, and maybe one other time. I don't remember when. Maybe once or twice they've had each other, but I know they faced it at a WrestleMania before. Diesel Taker, I could get into that. That's been a long time since we've seen that match. You know, same is Booker T. I was talking about somebody else earlier. I was saying, you know, there's a lot of guys in WWE I could get into. You know, you look at Booker T. Again, he could maybe be on Raw and do some stuff with the Nexus. He could be on SmackDown with the Core. Dolph Ziggler, Booker T versus Booker T could be good. Booker T, Daniel Bryan, Booker T versus Edge. Booker versus Orton, Booker versus The Miz, Booker versus Sheamus. Those are all some fresh matches that we could do that I could really get into. Looking back at the Raw roster, CM Punk, that's a match I can get into. Him and Goldust could team up and do some fun stuff again. Booker T, John Morrison could be good. Booker T versus Cena again. We ain't seen that in a couple years. Mark Henry. Again, I said some dudes in the Nexus. R-Truth, Randy Orton, Sheamus, Skip Sheffield when he comes back, The Miz, Triple H. Every one of them matches is a match I'd be interested in seeing. Ted DiBiase Jr., you know, if they stop jobbing Ted out all the time and actually make him look like a credible challenger. But, you know, I could get into that match. Hopping back over to SmackDown roster again. Alberto Del Rio. You know, if Del Rio right now is won the Rumble, he's getting into WrestleMania. Maybe he wins the belt at WrestleMania. You know, Booker T versus Alberto Del Rio for the title. That could be good. Big Show match one more time could be good. Christian. I already said Dolph Ziggler. Drew McIntyre. That's a match we could get into. Again, some of the guys in the Core. Jack Swagger. Oh, that's one I forgot. Diesel, Jack Swagger. That could be pretty good too. I could get into that. Booker T, Kane. Either guy against Rey Mysterio could be fun one more time. Booker T and The Undertaker. We ain't seen that in a few years. He could probably Booker T could work with a lot of these younger guys and help some of them look good. You know, if they still been trying to get over Tyler Rex, you know, Booker T could help make that dude look good. Booker T, Wade Barrett. I mean, there is plenty of fresh matchups for both guys in the WWE. Like I said earlier, they've done all the TNA matches that anybody's interested in. I wouldn't be interested in seeing Nash versus Anderson. I wouldn't be interested in seeing Booker T versus Anderson. Jeff Hardy matches, they've done them in WWE. Nash against Jeff Hardy, I can't really think of anybody else in TNA that I'd want to see either guy face off with, or I'd want to see either guy feud with, except maybe Booker T Pope one time. But when I look at the WWE roster, I see I had to just name off at least 10 different guys that they could do matches with that I would really be into. And I think those would be some very entertaining matches. You could do some very entertaining feuds. They could help teach a lot of these young guys some stuff, help them learn, put on some good matches, give a few guys a rub. Again, both guys, Booker T, especially Kevin Nash, they are businessmen first and foremost. Nash don't let nothing get in the way of his money. When it's time, he'll make them young dudes look good. He will do good to build up that match. And when it's time to do the job to make the young guy look good, he'll do it if and when that time comes. There's also talk that Sting's gonna be going to WWE. Again, same thing. Same thing as I look at with Nash and Diesel. I've seen all the TNA matches that I'm interested in. I can't think of anybody else in TNA that I would want to see Sting face or Sting feud with that I'd be interested. He's done the matches we want. He's done the Samoa Joe match. It was great. He did the AJ Styles match. It was great. He did the Christopher Daniels match. It was great. He did the Matt Morgan match. That was great. He had the match, I think, whether that Abyss match, Last Rites, was kind of crappy, but he's done the match with Abyss. He had the cage match with Foley. Who else is there? He had the match with RVD. Yeah. He did the match with Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle. He's done all the TNA matches that I'm interested in seeing, and I think other people would agree with that. Sting has done all the TNA matches that anybody is interested in. But when I look at WWE though, like I said before, going to a new territory, fresh faces. I see some guys Sting hand face. Sting has never been in the WWE. So pretty much everybody's new. Hang on a second, my mouth getting dry. Let me get a drink. Sting versus Orton. Sting versus John Cena. Sting versus Wade Barrett. Maybe he takes on the Core. Sting versus some of the Nexus guys could be good. Sting versus Daniel Bryan. Back to the Raw page. Sting versus CM Punk. That could be good. That'd be a weird fuse or dynamic that nobody's ever thought about. Sting versus CM Punk. Think about that for a minute. That could be something good. Sting Goldust. Sting Jerry Lawler. Just two legends going at it. Sting John Morrison. What else I'm seeing? R-Truth, Randy Orton. Sting Sheamus. I can get into that. Sting Ted Jr. Sting Miz. Sting Triple H. Sting William Regal. Hopping over to SmackDown. Sting Alberto Del Rio. Big Show. Christian. They did that once in TNA. It was good. Do it again. Dolph Ziggler. Drew McIntyre. Sting versus Edge. Sting versus some of the Core. Sting the Kevin. Not Nash. Jack Swagger. Sting Jack Swagger could be good. Sting versus Kane could be good. Sting versus Kofi Kingston. That's odd. Hadn't thought about that. Ooh, Booker T versus Kofi Kingston. I can get into that. Sting Rey Mysterio. I don't know if they ever faced each other in WCW, but I'd like to see it now. Sting, Wade Barrett, and of course the big one, the one of the two matches that I feel like the wrestling world is incomplete because we've never seen two matches. One of those matches is Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the other is, of course, Sting versus The Undertaker. That is the match we have all wanted since '96 when Sting first started doing the Crow gimmick. Since he did that gimmick, we've all wanted Sting versus Taker. That match, that's your SummerSlam headliner right there. A lot of people saying WrestleMania. Nah, don't do it at WrestleMania. Because for two reasons. Here's why: if I did Sting Taker, I would save it for SummerSlam and not WrestleMania. Actually, three reasons. One, you got enough stuff to sell WrestleMania already. Vince knows what he's doing. I know a lot of people saying you don't know what the WrestleMania card is looking like, but trust me, Vince McMahon knows what the WrestleMania card is going to be, and I guarantee you he's got enough stuff in line. It's looking like we're going to do probably Cena versus The Miz. That's good enough to sell the pay-per-view. You'll have a few celebrity involvements, some special attraction match. WrestleMania doesn't need the Sting Taker match. Number two, it kind of would make sense because Taker already has feuds for him when he comes back because of the way he was taken off TV. He's got unfinished business with Kane. He's got unfinished business with Wade Barrett. So he's got to do those two feuds when he comes back. Somebody else, I was talking to somebody else earlier today. They said, what about do a tag match? What about Sting and Taker team up and take on Kane and Wade Barrett? I could get into that. That'd be a good WrestleMania match. The streak's still intact, only it's a tag match this time. Kane and Wade Barrett versus Undertaker and Sting. And then about a month down the line, you can have Sting come out and challenge Taker, and that could be your headlining match for SummerSlam. Third reason I say don't do Sting Taker at WrestleMania is because it won't be believable. Nobody will think Sting can win. See, if you do it at WrestleMania, then it's the streak thing. They're not gonna end the streak for Sting. Sting don't need the win of ending the Undertaker WrestleMania streak. So if they think about it, if they announce tomorrow, say this 2/12/11 or 2/10/11 promo thing is not 221 2/21/11 promo is Sting. And then they announced Sting versus Taker at WrestleMania. Is there anything they could do in the build-up that would make you think Sting might actually win? We know they ain't in the streak for Sting. You know Taker's gonna win. So don't do it. You want this to be suspense. If you do Sting Taker, a dream match in the eyes of many, something we've wanted to see for over a decade, we finally gonna do it. Undertaker versus Sting. You want that build-up of, I think Sting can win. If you do the match at Mania, nobody's gonna believe Sting might win. You do that at SummerSlam, it's main event. It's guaranteed main event match. It can main event the show. You have suspense. They announced that match a month ahead of time. We'll be for a month going into SummerSlam. Every freaking YouTuber, every message board, every website will be debating back and forth. Who's gonna win? Why Taker should win? Why Sting should win? Who do you think is gonna win? You do it at Mania, we all know Taker's gonna win. Say again, Mania doesn't need the match; it's gonna be big enough already. Save the match for SummerSlam. You got guaranteed main event. Probably could smash some records because of just the number of people who wanted to see this match. So, dang, I'm at 19 minutes already. Okay, I'm at 19 minutes, almost 20. So let's wrap this up again. I think Nash and Booker going to WWE was better for both. Was better for everyone involved. It's better for TNA. It's better for TNA because it's gonna make them, put some more focus on some younger dudes instead of bringing back the main event Mafia, which a lot of us didn't want to see in the first place. No more fresh matchups for either guy in TNA. They've had all the TNA matches that we want to see. Plenty of fresh matches for them that pique my interest for them in the WWE. All around, this is the best thing for everybody. So, yeah. This is the Shadow Ranger. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at TJSMITH3. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.